Oh, baby. Last week was fun. The NFL draft is over, and I am excited for the off season. Now that the dust is settled, now that we finally got some clarity, it is time to move forward. I am going to give you my opinion on just about every draft team, winners and losers for fantasy. I'm going to try and go real quick, maybe like 10 minutes or so. And then we'll hop into a best ball mania draft and I'll answer questions and we'll see what the ADP looks like. Going to be a fun one. Let's go. Okay, so here we are on ESPN, and we're going to roll through and recap the draft for each of these teams. The Arizona Cardinals had so many picks. They had like four third rounders. Jesus, so many good players. But good news for Kyler Murray. They get Marvin Harrison Jr., and that's the landing spot we wanted. So you can draft him with confidence. Round two still a little bit pricey, but I definitely think it's ideal. Unfortunately, Trey Benson is behind James Conner. I was hoping Benson would be a Cowboy or a Charger and he would have more of a runway to compete, but it's going to be kind of a slow start. So, a bit of a loss in value for James Conner, Trey Benson, but an increase in value for Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray. Let's move on to Atlanta, who took Michael Penix Jr. with their first pick. I wouldn't have done that, but boy, Kirk Cousins going to have a fire under his ass. That's for sure. So I don't know if Cousins is as safe given he could get yanked at any point in the season, but Penix obviously loses value now that he's a backup. But Drake London, Kyle Pitts don't have anyone new to compete with. They drafted a wide receiver in round 6, Casey Washington, and I'm not too worried about that. So London and Kyle Pitts are definitely more trustworthy out of the draft. I was worried they would go Rome Odunze at pick 8. They chose not to. In Baltimore, pretty much no picks on offense other than Devontae Walker in the 4th. That's worth mentioning. And he's going to compete with Rashad Bateman like maybe next year. I don't think he's ready year one. He's more of a project given he didn't have like a ton of games started, played in college. But he is talented. I do like the pick. However, overall, nobody really gets impacted for fantasy. I think Derrick Henry is a full go. Let's move on to Buffalo, where they traded down into the second round to take Keon Coleman. And I wish I would have taken more of Keon Coleman a few weeks ago before the draft, because this is probably the best landing spot for anyone other than maybe Lad McConkey, who we'll get to in a little bit. But the Bills definitely need playmakers, so Keon Coleman gets a big boost. I'm also more interested in Curtis Samuel because they didn't draft any other receiver. I thought they would pick 2 of them, and they only took 1. So good news for Curtis Samuel, good news for Dalton Kincaid. And in the 4th, they took Ray Davis, who I actually kind of like as the backup to James Cook. So Ray Davis is an appealing pick towards the tail end of the draft, kind of a Latavius Murray type of role. He's a good pass catcher as well. He's also kind of older, so a little bit more ready to go than some of the other younger prospects at running back. But overall, Khalil Shakir loses value. And compared to like a month ago, maybe Josh Allen has moved down a little bit. I still think he's QB1. However, in Carolina, Xavier Legette is their first round pick. So he profiles to me as kind of like a George Pickens situation, like especially paired up with Deontay Johnson. I think it probably he's the number 2 at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of the season, he flashes some potential. He could be the number 1 by the time we hit Thanksgiving. But overall, good, decent landing spot. I like his talent, and there's a lot of volume available. There's no pecking order that's determined yet in Carolina. And speaking of that, Jonathan Brooks, once healthy, will be their RB1. So Chuba Hubbard loses value. Brooks is definitely the guy you want there. Very talented. I like the pick in the second round. They need some pop on offense. Then I also love Jatavian Sanders here to Carolina. I had them taking him in the 3rd, but he falls to the 4th, and they have no one at tight end other than him. So All three of these rookies, I think, will be valuable pieces because it's an offense that needs weapons and needs them badly. They get an offensive head coach, and there is some potential. But overall, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, Chuba Hubbard lose value. I'm less interested in drafting them this year. In Chicago, excellent pairing of Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, and then an offensive tackle in the third. They nailed this draft. They are in very good shape. And although it's not good for DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, I don't think it really matters. I think all three of them are like legit weapons. And you could argue, I don't know if like you'd win the argument, but you could argue that Odunze is actually the most valuable of the three because it's a new quarterback. There's no chemistry that predates Odunze's appearance there. And it seemed like him and Caleb Williams are already getting along swimmingly. So I think Odunze could possibly be the most valuable, given he's probably going to go third overall between the three. But I think DJ Moore needs to fall to the late third, if not fourth round. I feel like all three of them should probably go in the fourth round. If you can get them in the fifth, that's what you want. But DeAndre Swift, also a winner overall on this team. Let's move on to Cincinnati, who take offense tackle Marius Mims, but then in the third, grab Jermaine Burton. And I don't know if he's going to be like elite this year, but I think by next season, Jermaine Burton is probably going to be the replacement plan for T. Higgins. So that's a bit of a bummer for Charlie Jones or Andre Yoshivas fans, but Burton, I did like his talent. I do think he can compete, and he may take on the Tyler Boyd role this season. So Burton is interesting. They also took Eric All out of Iowa and in the fourth round, and usually Iowa tight ends do perform well. So that's something to consider. Gesicki loses some value, and so does Yoshivas, but I don't think anybody else is impacted in Cincinnati. In Cleveland, though, nobody really selected on offense that you worry about. They took Jamari Thrash in the fifth round, so it's really just like you can't trust Elijah Moore at all, given the Jerry Jeudy situation, and the running backs all kind of stay pat. Do you believe in Nick Chubb or not is the question in Cleveland for fantasy. In Dallas, though, shocker that they didn't grab running back. They passed on Marshawn Lloyd in the fourth or in the third, and that may come back to haunt them. He went to the Packers. But, they get an offensive tackle, another guard in the third round, and, they didn't draft anybody at wide receiver other than Ryan Flournoy in the sixth. So, like, whoever you had in Dallas last season is going to be very effective yet again in the passing game. Like, I love Brandon Cook's value, who's going super late compared to what he can offer you. He scored 8 touchdowns last season, all after the bye. Brandon Cooks, major winner in Dallas. And then they signed Zeke today. He's their RB1. Him and Rico Dowdle, you got to take them at the end of drafts, given they have nobody else really other than Deuce Vaughn. And that's not someone that scares you. So weird situation with the running backs, but the coach there is not really heavy on the run. I think Brandon Cooks is the biggest winner in Dallas post-draft. Him and Jake Ferguson, obviously CeeDee Lamb is a top 2 wide receiver. In Denver, though, Bo Nix is their quarterback, as I was expecting. So he's worth taking a shot on in the later end of your draft. I mean, he is the starting quarterback. I expect a full season for him. And what I love about Troy Franklin, although I wasn't like super high on Franklin before the draft, and then he fell to the fourth, it was justified. The fact that he goes to his college quarterback in such a open offense, like there's so many touches available, it's overall a plus back towards closer to where he was being drafted previously. So good landing spot for Franklin, but obviously fourth round investment, not ideal. Marvin Mims might step up. Maybe Curtis Samuel gets traded, but I think Greg Dulcich is the player that holds the most value, given he's going undrafted most of the time. They did take Estime in the fifth, so kind of a crowded backfield. I still would prefer Javonte, but there's too many mouths to feed. I'm not like excited to draft a Broncos running back, given Estime was added. In Detroit, though, they didn't take a single offensive playmaker. So big winner in Detroit is Jameson Williams. Now that they moved off of Josh Reynolds, it's just Khalif Raymond behind Jameson Williams. So Jameson Williams is a great value around pick 100, 105, wherever he's going. And I would expect him to move up over the course of the offseason. Everybody else you already knew was a stud. In Green Bay, not too many offensive weapons. They did take Marshawn Lloyd in the third, as I mentioned, did not go to Dallas. And that's just a bummer for A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon has like no value essentially. And Lloyd barely has any value given Josh Jacobs is their guy. Other than that, they didn't draft a receiver. So whoever you were taking in Green Bay, Jaden Reed, then Christian Watson, then Romeo Doubs is good to go. In Houston, though, no real like offensive weapons. Cade Stover in the fourth behind Dalton Schultz. I don't really care. And then Jawar Jordan, running back, in the sixth. Not going to impact Joe Mixon. So everybody stays put. No real impact in Houston. In Indianapolis, though, Adonai Mitchell fell to pick 52. That was a shocker there. Not ideal for Michael Pittman or Mitchell, given it's a run-first offense, but definitely a boost to Anthony Richardson. I do like that move for their offense overall. Given I thought he should have gone in the first round, for whatever reason, he fell to the late second, and I do think that's really good value for the Colts there. But they also took Anthony Gould in the fifth, and I think the biggest like loser overall would be Josh Downs. Josh Downs definitely going to see fewer targets this season, but good for Anthony Richardson, that's for sure. The Jags take Brian Thomas Jr., as I've been touting for over a month now. I said I thought this was the pick back in like March, so I got that one right. They did trade down to get him, but that was their target in the first round, and I was correct in that projection. But definitely a downgrade to the Jags receivers. Like Kirk is still viable, but I'd rather have Brian Thomas Jr. over plus targets this season. I'm not that high on Gabe Davis, honestly. I think he's just a best ball pick, going to be very difficult to trust in season long. And then Zay Jones, very touchdown dependent. You really just want Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram. Let the rest kind of maybe just stay on the bench. I don't even think I want Gabe Davis at all. But they do take a running back in the fifth, pretty irrelevant. In Kansas City, though, God, I hate the fact that of all teams, Xavier Worthy has to go to the Chiefs. I mean, there is legit bust potential with Worthy. Like, Worthy could become the Keelan Ross. I'm forgetting the person whose record he broke off the top of my head. But you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just because he's fast doesn't mean he can catch passes, and drops were a bit of a concern. So as a Chargers fan, I'm hoping this turns into a bit of a Kadarius Toney situation, but I doubt it. I think they'll probably make this work, and obviously Worthy moves up the board probably dramatically given his landing spot. But I still think Marquise Brown is a viable number one. I think I'd prefer Marquise Brown, and then Rashee Rice probably only misses like 2-4 games. They probably have a good receiving core now going into the season. They also just extended Travis Kelce today. So that's kind of the only impact there, but they didn't draft a running back. So Pacheco gets a huge boost in value, and he's going mid-fifth already, too late compared to where he should go. So Pacheco, big winner in Kansas City. The Chargers, you know what's I deserve a round of applause for how accurate my Chargers mock draft was. I had them taking Ladd McConkey in the second. That's exactly who they took. I also had them taking Junior Colson in the third. I thought he would fall given he's a linebacker and defense was like a diminished value this season. And I got both of those correct. I had them trading out of 5 and taking 2 offensive linemen. Instead, they stay put. Nobody trades up with them, and they go Joe Alt, the best tackle in the draft. I'll take a 6'8" lineman any day of the week. So I fucking nailed my Chargers mock draft, and I'm happy about it because I've been drafting a ton of Ladd McConkey, and that's who you should be targeting. Him and Josh Palmer are super, super good values. They're probably, at least McConkey, going to move up to probably like round 7, if not higher, very soon. We'll find out how high he goes in the mock draft in a few minutes, but we got another half of the slate of teams, so let's try and speed through. The Rams taking Blake Corum in the third. Rough rough spot for him behind Kyron Williams. Bad for Kyron Williams' value. Not ideal. Very curious to see how far Kyron Williams falls. But otherwise, they take a wide receiver in the 6th round. Maybe he could contribute, but I do think Demarcus Robinson is still probably the guy you want as the wide receiver 3 for the Rams. In Las Vegas, Brock Bowers, I mean, he was the best player available, and it's not like crazy to go with 2 tight end sets in the NFL, but damn, that's a bummer for fantasy. You definitely don't want Michael Mayer anymore, and Bowers not in the best situation, doesn't like benefit from this landing spot. But they didn't draft a quarterback, so Gardner Minshew definitely a big plus, definitely worth drafting, and I do think that's overall good for Davante Adams. In Miami, though, they wait until round 4 to go offense with Jalen Wright. Tough landing spot for Jalen Wright, given it's a crowded backfield. But I'm so happy I never drafted Devon Achane this preseason. Achane loses a ton of value with another running back in the mix. I still think Mostert is their goal line back. So if you're going to draft Miami running backs, good luck to you. And I don't think Achane is a good pick anymore, even though I never considered him even like worthy of a 3rd rounder in the first place. So no thank you with Devon Achane, that's for sure. In Minnesota, though, I think Darnold is still somewhat viable as your last round flyer, given JJ McCarthy, I don't think is ready year 1. He might get some starts at the end of the season, but if somehow Darnold can start off well and they're in playoff contention, there is a like 10-15% chance that Darnold plays the entire season if they are playoff viable with him. So, that's my take. I'm not in love with JJ McCarthy, but the landing spot is good given the weapons they have long term. I do think he will work out. But they didn't draft any other offensive pieces. So Jordan Addison, big winner after the draft, given TJ Hawkinson was injured and may miss a month plus coming into the season. It's just him and Justin Jefferson. They don't have a number 3 receiver at the moment. In New England, they took Drake May, probably the wise decision, although it's going to be a tough first season. And then they grabbed 2 wide receivers, and Jalen Polk, a player I was in love with before the draft. Now, good opportunity, but not the best offense to fall in. But who knows? Maybe he's their number 1 and gets 120 targets plus next season. That is possible. And then they also took a shot on Javon Baker, a really interesting prospect. I did like the combo of these 2 moves, but it's just kind of unfortunate. The Patriots are going to suck on offense in general. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe without Belichick as the coach, things could be different. In New Orleans, though, they don't really address offense that much. They take a backup quarterback in Rattler in the 5th and Bub Means in the 5th, so nothing really changes. Rashid Shaheed gets a big upgrade in terms of value given a lack of competition, and Michael Thomas going to be cut after June 1st. For New York, the Giants took Malik Neighbors, so a lot of targets available for him. Bad offense, though, bad quarterback situation, so not ideal. But they also took Theo Johnson in the 4th, and if Darren Waller does indeed retire, him and Daniel Bellinger are going to be toughing it out for that tight end 1 position. That is some value at tight end for the Giants. And then in the 5th, they took Tyrone Tracy Jr., and there's just Devin Singletary above him. He could possibly win that job before the season's over. So also an appealing late round flyer in fantasy, but this offense is kind of going to suck with Daniel Jones. In New York for the Jets, probably the right move going Fashanu, excellent tackle. In the 1st round, they passed on Bowers, and that's probably the wiser decision. I love this Malachi Corley selection, though, at the top of the 3rd round, because Corley could turn out to be their number 2 receiver if Mike Williams is indeed injured again. So he'll start out as the 3, but he's not like a deep threat. He's going to get a lot of underneath passes, and coming off an Achilles tear, Rodgers is going to need to get that ball out quick. There will be a lot of checkdowns to Corley, in my opinion. He does maintain legit fantasy value, and he was being drafted in like round 15 or so. I think that's relatively appropriate. He may even rise given the Jets hype, but I don't know what they're really doing here in the 4th and 5th, drafting Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, given they have Breece Hall and Abanikanda already. I didn't really love these moves. I thought they should have done something else with it. But I do think Allen is talented, just rough for fantasy, not really going to see the field behind Brees Hall. In Philly, we only got a few left, and let's finish this up. So they went corner, excellent value at that position. Wow. Really surprised that both Quinyon fell and Cooper DeJean was available in the second. Really good picks for that Philly secondary. Then they took Will Shipley, running back out of Clemson, in the fourth, and wide receiver Ainias Smith and Johnny Wilson later in the fifth and sixth round. So I don't think any of those three are really going to be that involved, but it is good depth on offense. Everything kind of stays pat in Philly, in my opinion. In Pittsburgh, they went with Roman Wilson, and there's a path to compete day one. There will be touches for Roman Wilson, given they really just have George Pickens and Freiermuth above him. But they did not take tight end, and Arthur Smith uses the tight end position a lot. So Freiermuth is a very big winner post-draft. Very underrated tight end. If he can have a bounce-back season, I think he could possibly finish top 10. Last year he was shit, but he was injured. So that's very appealing. Roman Wilson, decent turn of events for him. I had him as a round 2 pick. He did fall to the third, but the Steelers know what they're doing. They got good value on Roman Wilson, who's probably going to be their starting number 2 receiver. In Seattle, interesting draft. Didn't go quarterback or really address anything on offense other than some linemen and then tight end A.J. Barner. So not worried about him. Noah Fant is a bit of a winner. We'll see how long Geno Smith can play before they turn to Sam Howell next year. In San Francisco, interesting selection with Ricky Pearsall in the first round, and then Jacob Coing, another wide receiver, in the fourth. I think they're moving off of Deebo Samuel. That would be my guess, because I don't think they should move off of Ayuk. Personally, I think he's the better talent. But they also took Isaac Guerendo in the fourth round, running back out of Louisville, who was the fastest running back at the combine with a 4.3 340. So Guerendo is that league-winning option behind CMC. He is the handcuff you want, and we can finally draft him on Underdog, hopefully. He was unavailable before the draft. I was not happy about that. I wanted Guerendo, and I couldn't get him. Now he's in San Francisco, and he's going to be very valuable. I'd rather have Guerendo over Elijah Mitchell. Last 3 teams here, the Bucks go with wide receiver Jalen McMillan in the third, and I was upset with that landing spot. I really like Jalen McMillan, but behind both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, he's not going to have that much value. So I've drafted him a ton. I won't be doing that anymore. And while I do like him, like maybe in Dynasty long-term, once Evans retires, in 2024, not going to be a big contributor unless Godwin or Evans go down. In Tennessee, not really that many moves on offense. Yeah, round 6 wide receiver, otherwise offensive tackle in round 1. Things kind of stay the same in Tennessee. I'm not that interested in their offensive weapons, given how many pieces they have, and their offense isn't like elite. But they did add Ridley and Tony Pollard, and their offense should be better with a new head coach. Will Levis is a little more appealing than he was last year. But in Washington, the Commanders went Jaden Daniels, then Jerzon Newton, excellent value in the second, then Mike Sainristil, such a good corner. Then they took Ben Sinnott in the second. A little surprised by that pick. Thought it would have been Jatavian Sanders, but okay. He has some viability given they only have Zach Ertz above him. They let go of Logan Thomas, and maybe Sinnott is an interesting pick at the end of the draft. I probably wouldn't take him in a regular redraft. I'd wait for him to break out. A rookie tight end is not the safest investment in general. But they went Luke McCaffrey round 3, and maybe he gets on the field a little bit, but I would prefer just to stick with Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin by far and away. But overall, Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler lose a little value given Jaden Daniels' rushing viability. I am not drafting Austin Eckler this season. So that's it. We're done with reviewing the draft. Let's get into our mock draft finally. Let me get this shit settled. Get the placing right. Okay, so if you want to join me We are here on Underdog, and we're going to be entering Best Ball Mania. I'm not going to be doing that many Best Ball Mania drafts just because the odds of winning are so slim. Obviously, if you do win, you get a $1.5 million. That's great. But you got to put in $25. I'm much more interested in those $3 to $5 drafts. Like I usually prefer to keep it under 10. That's just how I do it. I'm more of a quantity for small amounts rather than a small amount of larger entries. And $25, it's not like that's nothing. We want to not throw this away. So I won't be doing Best Ball Mania for a while, but if you want to join me, it's a half PPR format, 18 round draft. So previously it was 20. It's cut down by 2 rounds. You're starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex, and 1 tight end every week. You also have 10 extra bench spots, and best ball is no time commitment. It just automatically inserts the best lineup possible every single week during the regular season. You don't have to adjust it yourself. So we're going to enter in this bad boy, and I'm a few seconds ahead. So if you hit it now, then I will be joining you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we can be drafting together. Boy, I am excited for this. I like really want to know where some of these players are going. And there are still 9 spots, 8 now. So if you want to hop in, you still can. If you're new to Underdog, you can use my code Nice and Blunt on sign up and get your first deposit matched up to $100. But while I have some time, let me get this all positioned correctly how I want it. Yeah, use my code and you'll get a little extra boost in cash. But this thing is filling up. We got 4 spots left. Would love to see somebody else in this draft with me. But I don't feel like I've ever had anyone in the live stream also in the draft. Welcome, Jonathan. What's up, Jonathan? Your boy Roman Wilson to the Steelers. Yeah, good landing spot for him. Ooh, baby, we get the number 2 overall pick. Yes, very happy and excited about that. Am I drafting Zeke Elliott? Hell yeah. I'm definitely taking Zeke. He's the RB1 in Dallas. Why would you not take him? Yeah, I've been taking him in the past for a while now, and I'll be taking him again. That's for sure. But draft going to kick off pretty soon. And just put me in the corner there. We got a few more seconds before this thing kicks off. And I'm going to grab some coconut water real quick. Okay, Christian McCaffrey goes off the board, and we are not going to play any games. We're going to go with CeeDee Lamb, especially knowing they didn't draft a running back. They didn't draft any wide receivers that you're worried about. CeeDee Lamb, who put up over 1,850 yards last year, will continue to provide a lot of fantasy value. That is for sure. So this offense is going to be super heavy passing with Dak Prescott, and we all know his number 1 receiver is CeeDee Lamb. Benson, what about Trey Benson? I'm not in love with the Arizona landing spot. I think it kind of hurts and eats into both him and James Conner considerably. Am I still okay with drafting A-Chain? As I mentioned earlier in the video, no, and honestly, I never was in the first place. I thought that second round capital you had to invest was way overblown. I wouldn't want A-Chain over Isaiah Pacheco, who's going around 5. I wouldn't want him over Joe Mixon as well. Both of those players are going around 5. A-Chain is a massive bust, in my opinion, where he's going in round 2. I would not be drafting Devon A-Chain, and I wasn't. I already was not. But I think round 1 is going to be pretty much chalk. Um, Given what happened, I don't think anyone other than Kyron Williams in the first round lost any value. So until we hit him at like pick 11 or 12, we're not really going to see anything change. But James Conner can't stay healthy. Benson is a beast, size and speed combo. I mean, once Conner goes down, yes, Benson will be the guy. I just don't know if that happens until like week 10 or so. And I don't think, unless Conner goes down with a season ending injury, once he comes back, I don't think he's just going to disappear. So long term, I think Benson's going to be great, but Conner is still getting paid like $8 million for another season. And that's where I'm just not like ecstatic about drafting either of them. But given Conner's going to fall, Benson was already going like top 100 or at least close to it. And I think that's kind of like where they're going to stay. So it's not a terrible situation, but obviously Kyler Murray can rush it in himself sometimes. And because Conner is just such a beast on the goal line, that's my big concern. If it was like more defined roles and you knew exactly how much goal line work a guy like Benson was going to get, I would be all in. But that's not the case. And that's why I was really hoping that Jonathan Brooks would go to Arizona because Brooks needs time to get healthy. You would have like a much more smooth transition year one, and it would allow Benson to go to some other team. I had him mocked to Dallas. They didn't take him, and that was probably a big mistake. But yeah, that's my reasoning. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Trey Benson really steals that job. He has potential, but I just think Connor's still a big part of that. Um, damn, that doesn't feel right at all. I mean, yes, you're getting the Rams stack with Puka, but I would just let him drop. Team 7, not paying attention with Devon Achane. He rifled that pick. That's a bad choice. Not a good decision at all. But that's fine. We have 3 more picks before we're on the clock. Let's take a peek at who we'll have available. Olave wins, given it's year 2 with Derek Carr. They drafted Rattlers, so maybe Carr feels the fire burning under his ass to get shit moving. And they're moving off of Michael Thomas, and they did not draft a receiver that can compete for touches. So Olave, probably going to be my pick here. And then we're probably going to stick with, people that we've taken in the past. I would have loved Devontae Adams, but I do not get him. I'm definitely not taking DJ Moore, given the Odunze addition. So give me Olave. I'll take Olave happily. And then I may want to address running back with a guy like Jacobs, but we're going to be back on the clock at 47. Who are the wide receivers around 47 that are going to be available? Guys like Zay Flowers, George Pickens. We would need guys like Rashee Rice, Odunze, T. Higgins to fall. I've taken him so much on the stream. However, I just believe he's a very safe selection. I'm going to pass on Jacobs, and I'm going to go with Mike Evans because I think Mike Evans should be going in round 2. But I know if you've been watching these drafts, I feel like when I'm on the live stream, I get pick 2 and 3 so often. And I feel like I almost always have a combination of CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill, and then like Brandon Ayuk or Chris Olave, and then Mike Evans and like one other receiver. I feel like I'm doing that in almost every fucking live stream, but I swear I don't do it every single draft. It's just where we are, and especially in these ones on the live stream, like I want to get the best player available, and I feel like Olave and Mike Evans at the 2-3 turn are just so bust proof, so safe. Um, yeah, that's really what I love to do in the beginning of the order. If I'm drafting in the top 3, I really like grabbing CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, and Mike Evans. If Adams can fall to you, that's really nice. But I'm not going to be someone who's like pumping up Josh Jacobs stock. I want it to stay where it is. But the decision was between Mike Evans and Josh Jacobs. I just think we can get really valuable running backs later on. More valuable than the wide receivers that'll be back on the board in the next 2 rounds. But so far, nothing's really like different compared to the ADP a week ago. And maybe it'll change over time, but I would have expected Achane and Kyren to fall dramatically. They did not. After Evans' pick, we see Jacobs, then Waddle, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman. Pittman should move down a little bit. I don't know if Pittman is like the safest investment now that they have AD Mitchell. But I think I'd rather have Devontae Smith over Michael Pittman personally. I think so. But in case you are new to the channel and you're enjoying the video, please hit that subscribe button. Really helps the channel grow. And hit that like button as well. Ups the exposure for the live stream and all the videos. And just a reminder, do me a favor, subscribe if you're enjoying this video. But back to the draft, we see Devontae Smith, Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and Sam Laporta goes at 35. So far, so good. Nothing that's too shocking. But then we see Cooper Kupp, Travis Etienne. I think Etienne in the 4th is so safe. Etienne is really valuable. I feel like he should be going in the 3rd, but in the same grouping as Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and Etienne. I feel like the 3 of them are very, very legit picks in round 3. The fact you can get Etienne in round 4 is really valuable. I know he's the first pick of the 4th round, but he should be going mid-3rd. Then we see Jalen Hurts, Tank Dell. I don't really love the Tank Dell pick. I think Tank Dell is still going too high. Kelsey at pick 40. So far, I feel like Team 9 is the one that's in the hole with that Kyren Williams selection. If they go wide receiver in the 5th and 6th round, I'd like their team a little bit more, but they're going to have kind of a rough time filling out receiver with just Puka. Then we see T. Higgins go off. That's kind of the dilemma with going running back to start. Team 8 with Devontae Smith and T. Higgins. Bit risky, but those running backs are studs. Then we see Keenan Allen, Lamar Jackson. Jackson was sniped quickly. Team 7, or Team 6 really wanted him. Then Zay Flowers. Oh, I got a good poll question to ask. Who is the most valuable Bears wide receiver? Is it Keenan Allen? Or is it Rome Odunze? Because I kind of want to say that it's Odunze. Please let me know what you think. Just posted the poll Who's the most valuable Bears wide receiver? Okay. Stroud is taken. And I really like Odunze, man. I really do. Feels kind of wild. I could be wrong, but nah, I'm going to go Rachaad White. I'm just going to take Rachaad White. I'm going to see if he falls. And then we have like a legit question on our hands between Odunze and Pacheco. We do not get McBride. McBride is pretty good. Pacheco goes off. Okay, so 2 legit picks. And I'm going to take Odunze. Odunze is so talented, man. Odunze would scare me as a third option. He's 6'3", 212, runs a 4.45. His best comp on Profiler is Justin Jefferson. Last year he put up 1,553 yards, albeit in 14 games, but still, previous season as a junior, 1,145 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's only 21 years old. I really like Odunze. And no, it's not the landing spot that Marvin Harrison gets, but it's better than the landing spot that Malik Nabers has. I think Odunze and Caleb Williams are going to have such a good connection. But let me know what you think. It looks like the poll has 100% Keenan Allen at the moment. I don't know if that's just one vote or everyone is just on board with Keenan who's responded to the poll. But DJ Moore in round 3, Keenan in the 4th, Odunze in the 5th. Yeah, I kind of feel like they should all be 4th rounders. So I'm just going to take the one that goes latest and feel good about it. But then we see Amari Cooper go off. Mark Andrews not paired up with Lamar. George Pickens at pick 5. They went with 5 straight receivers. Interesting strategy. Christian Kirk at pick 54. I don't love that. I feel like Kirk should fall to the 6th. I would rather go Brian Thomas Jr. Then we see Anthony Richardson, then Mahomes. Mahomes just continues to fall. Mahomes in the 5th is so difficult to pass up. I know I passed on him with Rome, but that's such a safe pick. Dalton Kincaid to Team 9. They're doubling up on tight end. Hate their strategy so far. Then Team 10 takes Rashee Rice. Not a great pick. Even further. Then we see Jayden Reed. I feel like Jayden Reed is a bit of a steal here at the end of the 5th. Jayden Reed should probably go above Christian Kirk at the very least. Then Terry McLaurin. Then Kyle Pitts. If I am going to draft a Commanders receiver, I would want it to be Terry. That is for sure. But he has kind of always underwhelmed from the expectations we've set on him for fantasy. And I wouldn't be shocked if that happened again. But to get him as like the 60th overall player, wide receiver, like at this point, it's like 35 off the board. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Yeah, wide receiver 35 for Terry. That's pretty safe. That's safe territory for sure. Okay. We have 5 picks. And if we could somehow get any of these three running backs, I would be ecstatic. But I doubt that'll happen. We already see Mixon go off, and nobody in these next four has more than one running back. So, not the most ideal situation, but I am glad I at least got one running back earlier on. Maybe Pacheco is more valuable than Rachaad White because they actually drafted a backup to Rachaad, whereas behind Pacheco, there's just CEH. Montgomery goes. I was hoping for him as a backstop, but maybe we can get Kamara. Doubt it. That's okay, though. Highly doubt we get Kamara here, but I will take him if he slips past. Take Kittle. I'm not dying to draft Kittle right now. They go Aaron Jones. All right. I like it. We are grabbing Alvin Kamara. Still some high upside. And maybe Kendry Miller pops, but last year he didn't do shit, even when he was healthy. Kamara was still the guy you wanted. Not letting him slip through our fingers. Then George Kittle. This team has two tight ends in McBride and Kittle. Not my favorite strategy, but they can do what they want. Okay, now we're in a bit of a jam. Do we go with Burrow? Do we take quarterback? Or do we go with Dak to complete our stack? Or do we go Evan Ingram? I think I'm just going to take Joe Burrow. Just play it safe. I do prefer Burrow over Dak. But interestingly, I've seen Dak fall by like a full round. Like a few weeks ago, I was able to take Dak Prescott at like pick 93. And he's going around like pick 80 in the ADP. Yeah, 81 is where he's going in the ADP. He's falling considerably. But yeah, I have been liking the Mostert value, but given they added Jalen Wright and there's also A-Chain there, not like ecstatic about it. A little bit risky, but in the 9th round, hard to pass. 8th, 9th round, a lot of good value still on the board. So after our Joe Burrow pick, we see Evan Ingram, Chris Godwin, Raheem Mostert. Xavier Worthy goes at 78. All right. Mitchell's going to need to fall. But if I was going receiver with our next two picks, I'd be targeting Jameson Williams and Lad McConkey. 100%. But we'll see. Another guy who's, I think I kind of forgot to mention him when we were going through the teams earlier, but Zamir White is a winner following the draft. They did not add a backup, or if they did, it's not someone that I'm like concerned with. They drafted Dylan Laub out of New Hampshire in round 6. So yes, Madison is there, but I have no concerns with Madison. Madison doesn't scare me at all. And I do still think Zamir White is the RB1 in Vegas. So Zamir White, good value. Um, our team is Joe Burrow, Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Mike Evans, and Rome Odunze. We're going to need tight end, and I'd be very interested in Jake Ferguson. Dak does not fall. All right, after Worthy, we see James Conner go off, Christian Watson, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, Ramondre Stevenson, Kyler Murray, Jake Ferguson. Ooh, we miss out on Ferguson. Bit of a reach on Ferguson. Damn, there's 3 teams with 2 tight ends in this league. That is not good. Because we are one of we're one of 6 teams that doesn't have a tight end. There's going to be a big run on that position. So if Njoku is available, I might go Njoku. But I don't want Brock Bowers. That's for sure. Need to let Bowers fall. Okay. Love goes off. Keon Coleman at pick 88. What was his ADP previously? 138. Wow. 50 picks higher on Keon Coleman. That's probably appropriate. Probably. To replace Adney Mitchell in the draft in terms of ADP feels appropriate. Njoku goes, so tight end is going to be rough for us. Tight end is going to dry up fast in this league. But damn, we don't even get McConkey. McConkey goes 91. Bowers goes. Did not want Bowers, so that's fine. I still think Curtis Samuel is decent. Swift is kind of interesting. Swift has some value here, but I feel like he's going to go out. No, they take Jaylen Warren. James Cook, Jaylen Warren. I think I'd rather have Swift than Jaylen Warren, but okay. Swift goes. Okay. Fuck. Maybe I should take Caleb Williams. But if I do, I'm going to do it on the way back. I'm going to grab Jameson Williams. They didn't draft anyone to compete with him. They haven't added anyone. He's the clear number 2. In this format, he has that boom ability. I'm going to go Jameson Williams. Zamir goes off. Okay, that's fine. Then Purdy. Well, if there's been a run on tight end, then let's force a run on quarterback. Because the only one I could talk myself into here would be Nick Chubb or Curtis Samuel. Maybe we need running back a little bit more, but nah, I'm going to go Caleb Williams. With the Rome stack. I like it. Eckler over Chubb. The fuck? Why? I hate drafting Austin Eckler this year. I'm not going to do it. He's off my board. I think I took him once in the last 2 months, and I've done 70 drafts. Not interested in Eckler at all. Okay. So our team, we started off with wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Mike Evans. Then we went with Rachaad White, Rome Odunze, Alvin Kamara. Kind of lucky to get Kamara. Then we go Joe Burrow, Jameson Williams, Caleb Williams. And at least our quarterback situation is strong. We have a stack, and we have very high production with our top receivers, some high boom ability with Odunze and Jameson. But then we see Eckler, Trey Benson, Adney Mitchell, Ryan Robinson Jr. go off. This Bowers Mitchell picks, not great. Not ideal. But we are one of 3 teams with 2 quarterbacks, so we're kind of putting a bit of a boost on the position. It's our way of counteracting that tight end advantage on some of these other teams. But the teams with 2 consist of Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Mahomes, Jordan Love, and then us with Burrow and Caleb. Not bad. After B-Rob, we see Tyler Lockett, Romeo Doubs, Curtis Samuel, Mike Williams, Jonathan Brooks go off. If Brooks can stay healthy, Brooks has value. But Nick Chubb is still on the board. Damn. That's kind of wild. Cousins goes. I would have expected Cousins to move down the board. That's a bit of a reach on Cousins. Cousins is going 124. He was taking 109 in this draft. Bit of a shock. Yeah, I don't really think anyone can compete with our wide receivers. Just reviewing some of these teams. Maybe this team has a shot at competing at wide receiver with us, but we have better running backs. No, I think I have the best receiver core in this league. CeeDee Lamb, Olave, Evans, Odunze, and Jameson Williams. I am biased, obviously, but I think that's the best top 5 in the league. Jameson Williams is sneaky valuable now. Very, very tempting where he's going. Because you could argue for him above Worthy, above Godwin, maybe even above Hopkins. I'm not saying I would pull the trigger immediately, but I could see his ADP move up given there's no competition for him. Genuinely. Holy shit. Could I actually get Chubb on the way back? No, of course. There he goes. But, I mean, Singletary has some slight appeal. No competition. But Gus Edwards gonna score some touchdowns. Definitely would rather have him than Devin Singletary, because they did not draft a running back. Okay, this team has to go receiver. I would think. Anyone but the Gus bus gonna be saving our ass. As long as I don't jinx myself and lose out. No, we do not. Yeah, give me Gus Edwards all day at this point. Given who else we have Rachaad White, Alvin Kamara, all day with Gus Edwards. Feels weird to say, but could score another 13 touchdowns this season in that Baltimore style offense. Gus Edwards is super valuable. Do we go Singletary? He's the last starting running back we can find. Or do we go with Dalton Schultz? Knowing what tight end looks like, do we just go Dalton Schultz? Nah, I will take Devin Singletary. I'm not in love with it, but I kind of shot myself in the foot at running back by passing earlier. Maybe I should have gone Josh Jacobs in round 3 and also gotten Rachaad White. But let me know what you think. Do you prefer our Mike Evans, Alvin Kamara combo? Or would you rather prefer a Josh Jacobs, George Kittle combo? Because it would affect my 3rd round and 6th round selection. Or I still go Kamara in round 6, and we just have Jacobs, Rachaad, and Kamara. But I don't hate this value here. At the 10-11 turn, picks 119, 122 to go Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary. Like, there's volume headed their way. Okay. Let's review Team 1. Team 1 went with CMC, Diggs, Malik Neighbors, Trey McBride, Pacheco, Kittle, Hopkins, Zamir, Purdy, Herbert, and Josh Palmer. Bit of a reach on Palmer, but absolutely justified. 100% justified. Receiver scares me with Team 1. I'm not a fan of Hopkins. I don't love Diggs or Malik Neighbors at the 2-3 turn. Running backs, obviously, but wide receivers risky. Tight end's great. Quarterback is solid. Wide receivers risky. All right, how much battery do I have? I'm sitting okay for a little bit. I may need to change it. But it's already round 11, almost round 12. There's only 18. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. But, that's another thing. These formats only have 18 rounds to them. So we may be done at quarterback. We may only be taking one more running back. And then we're going to cap out at like 2 tight ends, I think. Shit. I probably should have gone Dalton Schultz. Yeah, maybe that was a better use of our investment, but it is what it is. I like to see Brandon Cooks going higher. Cooks was going 141, and the team with the Dak Prescott, Jake Ferguson stack took him at 131. Good move. Brandon Cooks is super valuable, especially in best ball when you don't have to know when you're starting him. To be free of that decision, super valuable. I don't know if he scores 8 touchdowns again, but I would imagine at least like 6 is probably a safe bet. Okay. If we're going to go wide receiver in the next round, we can't really do that. We need tight end desperately. We need Freiermuth to make it past over the Rhine at pick 12.7. Fryermuth is our savior if he makes it to us. Pray for me in the chat. But if not, Charbonnet has the most talent of this group. But we're looking at backups, obviously, so not ideal. I'm not interested in Quentin Johnston. I might consider Xavier Legette, though. Legette has upside. Just scrolling down here. It's appropriate that Polk and Douglas are going back to back. Much prefer Polk, though. Damn it. We do not get Charbonnet, but we may get Fryermuth, which is probably the more valuable asset to have. Unless we get sniped here by Jay Timber. That would suck. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have to take Pat Fryermuth. But given he's tight end like 15 off the board, pretty safe floor. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Tight end 16 off the board for Fryermuth. That's his floor. I would expect a bounce back in the Arthur Smith offense. Just worried about the quarterback situation a little bit, that's all. Should we take quarterback? We got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have 6 picks left. Oh, they go Pearsall and Legette. Bummer. Fuck. Okay, maybe I take Baker. Because wide receiver, Roman Wilson, Jalen Polk would be my selection. Don't love it, but I think I'm going to go Stafford over Baker. Just because he's fallen so much. Yeah, okay, now we're done at quarterback. Might have a little bit of an excess at the position, but that's okay. I wanted Legette. Damn it. Okay. Then we see Michael Wilson, Jerome Ford. Marshawn Lloyd, still this high. Don't feel great about that. The Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary picks at the 10-11 turn are coming in clutch, I believe, for this roster. Because, like, I need them so badly for this team. And everyone that went after them is, like, scary as fuck at the running back position. Like, there is such a tier break when you hit Devin Singletary and Gus Edwards. Like, Corum behind Kyron, that scares me. Hubbard behind Jonathan Brooks, no thanks. Charbonnet, I mean, he's talented, but again, he's behind Kenneth Walker. Not great. Jalen Wright's the third stringer, so that's scary as fuck. Jerome Ford maybe has a path, but would also have to compete with Deontay Foreman if Nick Chubb is bad. And then if Nick Chubb is good, you might not see any production from Jerome Ford. And then Marshawn Lloyd, who's the third stringer, possibly behind A.J. Dillon. And now Ty Chandler goes off. Running back is so brutal following Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary. We almost got lucky. Nick Chubb fell to 116 in this draft. That is crazy to me. That's insane. The team that gets him, though, still doesn't have a quarterback. They are fucked. Yeah, the three of my last four picks have fucking saved my ass in terms of viability in this format. If I didn't get Fryermuth and if I didn't take the combo of Gus and Devin Singletary, which feels crazy to say. It's not like these three players are like amazing, but for the value and the options following them being so terrible, really clutch picks. I kind of regret the Joe Burrow pick a little bit. Just a little bit. But I feel like the only other move there would have been Evan Ingram. And that's not that bad. We at least have like elite upside with Burrow. Okay. Following Marshawn Lloyd, we see Cade Otton, Baker Mayfield, Luke Musgrave, Ty Chandler, Deshaun Watson, Rico Dowdle, Drake May, Hunter Henry, Darnell Mooney, Roman Wilson, and Marvin Mims Jr. Our next pick is definitely not going to be Michael Mayer. That is for sure. We also only have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We only have 5 picks left. We're not going to draft any quarterbacks. We're narrowing it down to running back, wide receiver, and tight end. But I do think Jalen Polk has a path for success in New England. If Drake May can produce, I do think he can put up viable numbers. Dobbins as a handcuff to Gus is not a terrible investment. Not bad at all. But it'd probably be wiser to take Ezekiel Elliott and maybe like Isaac Guerendo instead. Because there's a scenario where Gus is good enough to make J.K. Dobbins irrelevant, and Zeke and Guerendo could have blow-up seasons. Yeah, I believe I'm taking Isaac Guerendo with our next pick. Because Team 1 has Christian McCaffrey, and Guerendo should be going higher than where he is going. Zeke gets taken. Yeah, people are not fucking around. Yeah, I'm just going to grab Guerendo. I'm off the Elijah Mitchell camp. Completely off it. And if there's one running back I'm a little bit worried goes down with injury this year, it would be Christian McCaffrey. Little bit worried about it. But not excited with Braylon Allen at all. No fucking chance there. I think I'm going to go Jalen Polk. We could take a shot on Likely, but he's not the starter. Yeah, at least Polk has a path to be the wide receiver 1. And I was really big on him before the draft. So I'm going to take Jalen Polk. I think he's definitely the best receiver that they have in New England. He's not like incredible, but he's super consistent, very safe. Another Washington Husky wide receiver, 6'1", 203. He's 22 years old. He was picked early in the second round. The draft capital's there. Best comp available would be Romeo Doubs on Player Profiler. Arms are 31 inches. That's not bad. Runs a 4.52. That's good enough. I mean, like, it's not like I can run sub 5. You know what I mean? Like, who am I to pretend like 4.52 isn't bad? But like, think of some other players who run 4.52 and are like elite. Like, I'm not saying he's Devontae Adams, but I'm pretty sure Devontae Adams ran a 4.5 at the combine. Yeah, Devontae Adams is 4.56. I'm pretty sure Cooper Kupp is also in the 4.5 range. I don't think I'm making that up. Pretty sure I've seen that before. Yeah, Cooper Kupp ran a 4.6 too. Like, don't let 4.52 scare you. Let's get back to Jalen Polk. Yeah, I like him a lot. I think the Patriots made a good pick. Very safe second rounder, in my opinion. Maybe there's some more upside with A.D. Mitchell, but really safe floor incoming for Jalen Polk, who caught 69 receptions last year. Nice. 1,159 yards, 9 touchdowns, albeit in an excellent offense with Washington. But if he's the wide receiver 1 in New England, I think he's better than Pop Douglas. I think he's better than Kendrick Bourne. He's definitely better than Juju Smith-Schuster. Here in round 15, pick 170. His ADP, I think, should move up, and I feel like it hasn't changed since the draft, at least not in this league. But my battery's about to die, so give me 1 second while I swap it out. I will be right back. Promise. Nope, we don't need that bet. There we go. I'm back. Okay. So after we take Jalen Polk, we see Demario go off, then Adam Thielen, Wan'Dale, Juwan Johnson, Braylon Allen. Bad pick unless you have Brees. That's not ideal. Isaiah Likely, Roschon Johnson, Justin Fields, J.K. Dobbins, Javon Baker, Ray Davis. I do like the Ray Davis pick. I think that's actually a good move. Elijah Mitchell. Like I said earlier, we are off Elijah Mitchell. We're on board with Isaac Guerendo. Who let me explain some shit about Guerendo. 6 foot 221, ran a 4.33. Like the highest percentile speed you could ask for. Guerendo is legit. Guerendo has what you want at running back. 221, 6 feet, like size is not a concern at all. Guerendo's fucking dope. But 4.33 at that size, like holy shit, man. He did transfer out of Wisconsin. Couldn't really beat out Braylon Allen, but is a legit pass catcher. Caught 22 last season. If you can catch 20 catches in college, that's kind of the benchmark to be like, okay, you can do it at the NFL at a good level. But only 132 carries for 810 yards. I need to do some math on that. What is the... Oh, we're actually almost on the clock. We'll do the math on it in just a second. But... Okay, we're coming up. Estime goes to Denver. I'm not taking Estime. Bucky Irving goes to Tampa. That would be a handcuff to our Rachaad White pick. Maybe we could take him, but I'd rather not. We need tight end, and we need it badly. And you know who is a winner coming out of the draft, it's Tyler Conklin. The Jets passed on Brock Bowers, and Tyler Conklin has had 3 straight seasons with 87 targets, at least 58 catches, if not 61, and he didn't score a single touchdown last year, but put up over 600 yards. He is a safe option, going to give you like 6 points every week. And with Aaron Rodgers, could score some touchdowns. I'm going to take Tyler Conklin here in round 16. But back on the clock here, running back will get kind of brutal until maybe Kimani Vidal as a hedge for our Gus Edwards pick. But we have 2 tight ends, 5 running backs, 6 wide receivers, and there's only 2 more rounds left. I need wide receiver badly. I think I'm going to go DeMarcus Robinson because I have Matthew Stafford, and they didn't draft anyone until the round 6. If Cooper Kupp has another injury, even if he doesn't, DeMarcus Robinson was putting up numbers at the end of last season. So we have our stack, and he's our wide receiver 7. Not counting on him like crazy, but could have some big pop weeks. He was very efficient in the red zone at the end of last year. So we're going to have one more pick, and we're going to be looking at... I doubt I'm going to go tight end. I don't think I can really afford a 3rd tight end in this roster. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass. I'm going to stick with the floor of Tyler Conklin. Not great, but hoping for a bounce back year from Pat Freiermuth. Our tight end position is a bit rough, but we're loaded at receiver. We got CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Mike Evans, Rome Odunze, Jameson Williams, Jalen Polk, and DeMarcus Robinson. At running back, we got Rachaad White, Alvin Kamara, Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary, Isaac Guerendo. And then at quarterback, we got Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, Matthew Stafford. So quarterback is going to carry us. We could see 20-plus points every week. That's really nice. Running back, Rashad needs a real good season. Kamara needs to stay healthy. Gus needs some touchdowns. And Devin could put up decent numbers. Probably won't, but could. He was impressive last season from what we expected. Guerendo needs CMC to go down, but that is always possible. We were going to talk about Guerendo's yards per carry numbers. I feel like this is like 7 yards a carry. 810 divided by 132. 6.1 yards per carry. That's still very respectable. That's still very legit. Would have liked to see a little bit more usage, but did go over 1,000 yards from scrimmage on just over 150 carries. That's pretty nice. So there's some upside with Guerendo, given his size and speed profile. Like, that's going to be a hard player to tackle. That's for sure. But not much longer in this video. Draft is almost over. And we could consider Bucky Irving. We could consider Lob in Vegas. We could consider... Oh, did Kimani Vidal already get taken? I feel like somebody might have snatched... Oh, yeah. He went at the turn, yeah. I got a bit screwed on that. That's okay. We could also go Madison, but I don't like Madison. Nah, I'd rather go with Lob, just for the hell of it. But I'll probably grab... Oh, fuck. He's probably off the board. Where's Clyde? I feel like Clyde is not listed. Oh, he's there. Okay. He's just not in the ADP at all. Okay. Yeah, we could go with Clyde. Bucky goes away. But there's also wide receiver and tight end to consider. Are there any tight ends? Not really. Oh, actually, looks like he was taken. Jelani Woods, big winner in terms of draft capital. They did not take a tight end. They were interested in Bowers, but obviously he was sniped before they were picking. So Jelani Woods is actually a big winner. Didn't play a snap last season. Literally zero points. Not a single target, not a single reception. Did not play a single game. But appears healthy after his missed season. And he was like a second round pick. Maybe a third rounder a few years ago. He was a rookie in 2022. So some potential, but would I need running back 6 more than tight end 3? Neither of them are going to contribute much, but I think it's probably worth just hoping that our Pat Fryermuth bet works out rather than an insurance policy with Jelani Woods, because Clyde does have more of a chance to enter our lineup at the end of the day. As long as I don't get sniped, I'm going to go Clyde. I'll take CEH. Any receivers I would consider here? Not many. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. I'll take CEH. He's the backup to Pacheco. And that's all you need to know. So that's our pick. We're done. And a reminder, on our team, we have Burrow, Caleb Williams, Matthew Stafford, Rashad White, Alvin Kamara, Gus Edwards, Devin Singletary, Garendo, and CEH. CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Mike Evans are the top 3 receivers. Then we have Rome Odunze, Jameson Williams, Jalen Polk, Demarcus Robinson. And then at tight end, our weakest of the 4 positions, Pat Fryermuth and Tyler Conklin. So that's it. Let me know what you think of this team. And if you enjoyed this video, then do me a favor, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you next time. But I'm just going to let you know right here, right now, I am moving. This is the last time you'll see me in this environment with this background. I am moving back to Los Angeles at the end of the week. So it may be two weeks until I'm back on YouTube. But it's been fun, and timestamps for all the parts of this video will be listed. If you're still watching, thanks a lot. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. My name is Adam Riancho, and thank you for watching. Nice and blunt.